So first, on the East Coast, filmmakers like films in Chicago music. I just always Eddie, he had so much money, he would hire a network of hired stuff to go investigate super spot to go and investigate underground opium that they weren't paying the penny. Then they would hire armed thugs to go and burn up break down the studio.
Oh no.
There are even some cases of arson, buildings burning to the ground that may or may not have been connected to common benefit, like arson. So because of this harassment, arson, many filmmakers decided to leave each book and let them serve as a resort where you were based, and they wanted to get it far away. So Los Angeles is the exact opposite side of us. Out here, those are the states. So in one small part, you kind of sense it. Also, this function is finally, great by the number two, and all of that helped set the stage to make Los Angeles the movie mecca. Oh, by the way, right here, this is now in this market, you can see that yellow sign that says Gitlada. I know this is like a rundown little rinky dink strip, but Gitlada, the famous ice was in name. Hold on, y'all, because authentic. And I didn't even hear a fan of The Simpsons. So, Simpsons, the creator of Matt's name. Gitlada is his favorite Thai restaurant. So to go inside, all over the wall, there are doodles that Matt braided and made sketches and drawings of the Simpsons characters. He loves the food so much, but the head chef from Jamada was turned into the Simpsons factory here.
Oh,
Great Thai food, and it's got people street food.
What's the name of the place?
Jitlada, Jitlada. He was also on Jonathan Gold's top restaurant in LA list. He was one of the best food critics in LA for decades.
oh, I did.
Jitlada? Yeah, Jitlada. No, no S. It's just Jitlada. Jitlada. Funny name.
That's my next spot. That's my next spot. Nice.
Yes. We're all new. Uh, and I'm like, you guys are going to see a giant blue house. This is a hospital called Cedars of Lebanon, but it may combine with another hospital called Cedar Sinai. But here, this is now the home, the headquarters of Sinai.
Ew, no.
I am proud. I'm scared to say that I have been black Church of Scientology. Because I not only do bus tours, I also do historic walking tours on the Hollywood Boulevard. And they have Scientology Visitor Center in Hollywood as well. When I have people pass, I would walk like past, and my guests would naturally say, what is this? What are the Philippines doing though? But I love to fun fact about the church and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. And these were insightful fun facts, but the church was not fond of my until they tracked me down. They found my name and my face online, and they threatened to sue me for the company that I worked for because I was making discriminatory comments about their religion.
Wow.
So I've been blacklisted from the exhibitors. You have a question? We didn't get my mouth. It's a real press legal challenge. Legal press legal charges. It's just the last listen. Oh, I was always careful to say alleged. Yeah, alleged. Trying to get you what? Trying to make me follow it. These are the signs of change.
Ew.
Well, I like July. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the story, but it's important that Elon Hubbard did the church of Scientology. Before the Church of Scientology, he made a living as a musician. Specifically, he was a musician, like using literally his job to churn out as many quick and easy fiction, adventure novel stories as he possible. In fact, L. Ron Hubbard actually holds a world record for the most works of fiction published by a single author. He was a prolific writer who just churned out fiction. That was his role. That was his one thing. Unsurprisingly, many elements of his prior published books of fiction have similar elements to the tenets and teachings of Scientology. It's also worth noting that Dianetics, one of the tenets and principles of Scientology's view, has been debunked thoroughly by medical scientists. It's also worth noting it's also worth noting that people have gone to bankrupt trying to make use of ways of amending. It's actually fun to note that L. Ron Hubbard has been directly quoted as saying, quote, if you want to make money, don't create a business, found a religion. There have also been allegedly many cases of abuse, fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion. At one point, L. Ron Hubbard, to a bunch of his most devout followers, onto a yacht, sailed around the Mediterranean as a way to avoid him, allegedly.
Is this Hollywood? What? Is this East Hollywood? Or
Yeah, right now we are in East Hollywood. Actually, we're entering into Los Feliz and so.
okay, okay.
Oh, so I want to know my favorite anecdote about L. Ron Hubbard and his connections to the figure in LA's history. So, you guys know Caltech, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Caltech is a leading institution about leading institution on rocket science and great. Now, Caltech was not always so well known for astrophysics, aerospace engineering. One of the biggest and greatest Caltech's history was a guy named Jack Larson. Jack Larson is a pioneer in the field of rocket science, and he was a student at Caltech. In fact, he was a renegade, so he would do his own tests and own experiments beyond the purview of what the so Jack Parsons, Scientology, so Jack Parsons was basically the grandfather of aerospace engineering in Los Angeles. Big deal. Jack Parsons was also insane and obsessed with the occult. He got involved in a number of different occult organizations in Los Angeles. He was a documented member of basically a Satanist group in Pasadena, the blood ritual. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying alcoholic. They were literally the blood ritual in Pasadena. But infamously, Jack Parsons had a girlfriend, a partner who lived it. And eventually, this partner got steered away by L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard basically cut Jack Parsons, the grandfather of rocket science in Southern California. And then in response, in order to win back the heart of his girlfriend, Jack Parsons engaged in a he did black magic ritual and involved ritualistic masturbation. And that's the heart of his girlfriend. He was flown by L. Ron Hubbard. I am not exaggerating this shit. It's actually what happened. Literally look it up. Fact check. Jack Parsons. Rocket. L. Ron Hubbard. Black magic. Occult. Keywords throw it out there. You'll find it. It's a great podcast called The Hidden History of LA, and they have a whole segment, like 20 minutes. Great. And then, of course, Jack Parsons, this big guy in rocket science, he mysteriously dies in 1950. He dies in an explosion in his garage. Reportedly, science experiments gone awry. But there's also conspiracies that was about the mob on behalf of the CIA to prevent them from leaking secrets of rocket science and economy. So if you like true crime, conspiracies, black magic, L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, look at Jack Parsons. Great. Normally, I can't talk about this whole black magic rituals. I have a lot of old people on my tour. You guys are college.
Let's hear it.
What else?
Let's hear the story.
Well, I just said that. Like, we're saying that the black magic precipitation was so. And of course, we're not the authentic tour of Los Angeles without soul crushing traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys remember something delightful? Yeah. So I want to remind you guys that the city boundaries of Los Angeles, so not including Beverly Hills or West Hollywood or Santa Monica or Glendale, Pasadena, the city of Los Angeles has a population of around 4 million. The greater Los Angeles area, which extends all the way down to like Long Beach, that's around 10 and a half, 11 million people.
Oh my.
And you've got the Olympics coming up in 2028, and there were around 3 million people that came to Paris for the Paris Olympic Games. Imagine 3 million more people. That'll be a great time. I will say this though. With the Olympics as a concept in Los Angeles is somewhat controversial. The idea of like why are we prioritizing this like big international games and we have so many problems on domestic front. That being said though, Los Angeles was the first city in over 80 years to actually have a profitable Olympic Games. All the way back in 1984, Los Angeles hosted a similar event. Up until that point, every city that hosted it had actually lost money on the things. But LA was the first to actually earn money from it. So we did it successfully back then, and I think we can do it successful again. But the travel and logistics, that's going to be the prize. That's going to be the 19th. Just like again with 3 million more people, and the fact that we don't have the most robust like train network, everybody driving on the streets at the same time. The traffic's already so bad. 3 million more people are going to make it worse. There have been reports that the Olympic Committee for Los Angeles coordinated systems of bus. Like if you guys have ever been to the Hollywood Bowl before, they have bus shuttles that pick up different locations, then drive you to the destination. They're trying to coordinate that, but for the scale that they need, the number of buses, the number of drivers, the scale of infrastructure they would need for that. They are trying to, the city of LA is trying to find more buses from surrounding areas, from Mexico, Nevada. This is going to be enough to be able to facilitate. So that's going to be the big struggle. Because if you can't iron that out, it's going to be undone. Well, so also, we are entering back into Silverlight. I was yapping about something else on the way out. But now that we're driving back, we have time to actually pass by a very historic location. Up ahead of us, we are coming up to a white building. It's called Black Cat Ave. And this is a landmark, daylight in Los Angeles. Oh, it's coming up on the left. You see that tall green tree? Just beyond that, it's a white building and it says the Black Cat.
Oh, yeah.
The Black Cat Tavern. This is back in 1967. This is 2 years before the Stonewall Rebellion in New York City that kicked off the modern day life. But here in Los Angeles, we had a small uprising as well. At this tavern on New Year's Eve, 1967, this was a well-known gay bar. And so there were many gay couples that were here at the bar for New Year's. But of course, at the time, they were trying to lay low, be incognito. But as the clock struck midnight, a number of gay patron couples leaned in for a midnight kiss. At that point, inside this bar, plainclothes police officers revealed themselves and began making massive arrests. And this was kind of a final straw. People were sick of homophobic harassment in LA. So gay queer people came together in an underground, marginalized communities when they held protests out front. The protests against unfair discrimination. So there were protests all up and down the street. And the way the LAPD interacted with the gay community. But it was right here on Black Cat Avenue. It was a major part of LA like 2 years before Stonewall.
2 years before?
Yeah, Stonewall was 69. This was in 67. The difference though is that Stonewall got a lot more attention. It got a lot more momentum, and it got a lot more it got a lot more coverage in the news. Whereas the Black Cat was more localized and it didn't capture the same kind of momentum that Stonewall did in New York City.
Well, yeah, because Stonewall was more a bigger riot than
Exactly.
was
That's the thing too. It had a lot more momentum. But still, just because it wasn't as big doesn't mean it wasn't as important or like it wasn't as historically noteworthy. By the way, I want to point out, you guys can see the little, I'm sure all on LA, you guys see the little delivery robots, you guys see the Waymo, the automatic
Yeah.
cars. To many people, they are seen as a sign of progress, you know, amazing technology, I think are incredible things. AI robots delivering us, what's progress? I want to remind you guys of something very important. The same AI technology used in those robots, the same AI system that allow the robots to identify crosswalks, stop street signs, fraud. And the same software that those robots use to identify people and avoid them is the same kind of software used to identify humans and terminate them. This is the beginning of the AI robot apocalypse. It may not happen tomorrow, but in 50 years from now, when we're facing down a robot overlord, you can thank their ancestors, you can live your robot. That Terminator was not science fiction, it was cautionary. Also, I just remembered something. Again, if you guys are new to the city and you never looked into see what the fun to do, I live downtown. I really like downtown, despite its flaws. One tip though, if you're ever in downtown and you want to really amazing view, if you guys see the tallest building on the right, the one with the tall spire, that is the Continental. On the Continental, there is a hotel on the top, like 15 floors, and the lobby for the hotel is on one of the top floors. So that means the lobby is open to the public, and so anybody, even us, can walk to the base of that tower, and take the elevator all the way to the 74th floor. With a cocktail lounge with a sit and lounge house. The point, free panoramic view of Los Angeles. I recommend everybody.
Okay. Got it.
And it said in here, we're just kind of winding our way back down Sunset Boulevard, back to downtown LA, back to the L State. I could both say this, but there's on the way. But, oh, there's all kinds of that's
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, oh. Very unusual. I'm trying to pull up so many fun facts. Very rare that I have a lot of it. I've been gone for so much time. Something. Reason I enjoy like this outlet for me is I can't stop spouting off fun facts. It really gets in my boyfriend. We'll be driving around. I'm gonna go snatch my life. It's Cahuenga Boulevard. I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, no, I don't want to go. Here, it's like, okay.
So where does it come from?
Oh, glad you asked. Cahuenga is actually a romanization or a mistranslation of an indigenous word, Cahuenga, which was originally from the Tonga tribe, one of the native tribes of the area, and it roughly translates to the Valley of the Fox, or perhaps the Valley of the Coyote. That's what the native people called it, but then it was translated in Spanish and then later anglicized.
Thank you.
You're trying to catch me out with like, oh, I wonder if he actually knows what Cahuenga is.
I believe you now. Oh, I think that this ball is building on a little bit because of the fire. The ball is built with the US base. It's like this now. Yeah, you can see it there, the one on the right with the tall spires. Oh. Also, I thought of something. As we're driving past, and you guys can see the towers of downtown Los Angeles. If you guys have visited other big American cities, older American cities, if you've been to Chicago or you've been to New York, many of those cities have a long more older architecture for their now. Like again, think about New York City. They've got some classic architectural styles, like the Christ, the Empire State, right? But you look at LA's style, and you notice there's not a lot of old skyscrapers. A lot of ones in the reason why is because of one back in 1904, LA's first skyscraper. It's on Fourth and Spring. It's called the Continental. Uh, but this was the first skyscraper. And when people saw it, some people loved it. They thought it was a symbol of modernity. But there are many other people that were like, yeah. A lot of people. They have moved from the front some of the coolest from New York. And they didn't want LA to become that. full of giant skyscrapers, blocking out the sunshine, creating wind tunnels, stuff like that. So, a city law, but on the massive like buildings were not allowed to be tiled under feet. That law was in place. So people aren't allowed to build higher. So many people built outlets. So LA began to sprawl out with that building pattern. But by the 1960s, finally, that law was repealed. 1965, the law was removed. So that led to the construction of new skyscrapers. But all of them are more modern skyscrapers, the ones that we see on the skyline today. There was also, in the same year, a law that was passed that mandated that the tallest skyscrapers have flat roofs for helicopter events in the event of an earthquake. So that's why when you look at LA's skyline, the vast majority of them are modern skyscrapers from the 1960s and also have flat roofs. That flat roof law was repealed in 2012, no, 20, it was repealed, which allowed intercontinental buildings to have the more distinctive shape they have today. If you ever wonder why skyscrapers in LA aren't as historic cities and why they look so warm, it's because of the law that was all the way to 1904. One law changed the design and shape of LA's buildings. We want the boxy flat top skyscrapers. Also, a quick fun fact, have you guys have seen the Barbie movie, Margot Robbie? If you guys remember when Barbie comes to the real world, she hunted down by the evil Mattel Corporation with Will Ferrell as the CEO of the top floor. The Bank of America building you can see there, that is the Mattel headquarters. Barbie.
Oh,
So if you watch the movie and you pay attention, you'll notice it. Oh, also, to the right here, I know this is a backed up freeway, but this four stacked freeway actually historic. This is America's first four-way interchange. Oh, it's modeled and inspired the rest of America's highway. And it's, oh my God, I mean, right, who's from Connecticut? Right, okay. How long have you been in LA? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Okay. Have you noticed how people give directions? Quiet. People say take the 405 to the 10, I mean the 101. You don't do that in Connecticut, right? Yeah. Sacramento. Look on the Sacramento picture. Yeah. You don't do that in Sacramento. Right? No. It's just for Los Angeles. With SoCal. Why is that? Why what is this weird linguistic word? It's because LA led the way, paved the way for freeways across America. America's first freeway was the Arroyo Seco Parkway. You know that road that goes from downtown up to Pasadena? That road was designed, that was opened in 1938, 1930. It was in the 1930s. And back then it was designed for top speed, drag race speeds of 45 miles per hour. Top speeds. So LA was taking away the freeway. And back then, the freeway didn't need proper name. It was called the Arroyo Seco. Later, the Hollywood Freeway, the Harbor Freeway, the Santa Monica Freeway. Proper name. Became more and more complicated across America with interstate highway, creating a system that spanned across all 50 states. And that's when highways were assigned numbers. Because this, but the numbers did not have proper names like the. However, the previous generation of English had always referred to the freeway as the. And so it's given a district there. Instead, you don't verify, don't let me, etc. And it was passed down from one generation to the next. That's how you know when you're actually, when you're no longer just a friend, you actually live in LA, when you start to get direction with God and Bell 4 or 5, etc. It's also a telltale sign that somebody's not from LA or like from out of town if they don't say it. Philadelphia as well, even LA is a sort of Chinatown. Although it's not LA. I'm very sorry to say that Union Station, when it was proposed, that land where Union Station was today, LA. They call it but any time you build a new station, you combine all the train lines and then it's evidence of many historic residents of the original town, demolished the Chinese population, then moved into this area, which at the time was actually real. So this place, the Italian people from this thing, we then moved further to the well, later further west. But yes, my point being, this is not the original Chinatown in Los Angeles, but it is not the Chinatown that we have today.
Like people feel there.
Yes, exactly. There's a Italian heritage and cultural museum. It's called Italian Hall, and that's why it's here in this area. It's over here on the street corner, the Italian Hall, and you're like, why is there an Italian museum? That's why. Oh, yeah. Oh, so real quick, has anybody here? We're coming back to Old Bear Street. Has anybody here been to Old Bear Street before? Yeah. So this is the oldest road in Los Angeles, and it's the oldest home in all. The Villa Adobe. This is a historic part of LA here in Oakland. But all of this was going to be demolished. Today, Union Station is across Alameda Street, but originally, they were going to build Union Station, and they would have destroyed all of it. However, there was one woman, just one, Christine Stern. She saw O'Bara Street, which at the time was not as nice as this was a rather rundown area where many poor Mexican immigrants lived. It was where affordable housing was for these people, but it was not the Ritz, right? It was not Beverly Hills. So to the white Anglo-American policymakers of Los Angeles, it was a no-brainer to demolish the neighborhood of the poor Mexicans and they created a change. But uh, but this thing is story that she saw the value in the air. She saw the story, the importance of the how with the right preservation, something, it can become something the city can be proud of. So because of this one work out of this, and I like to mention, she was able to cook, not to be quite. There's working, and all the things, one, they got the well, it's obvious that you guys have any more fun facts. Union Station is often called the last great cathedral of the train in America because this is pretty late to the game. This was only opened in 1939. And this was kind of as rail transportation in America was declining. This was around the time cars were becoming ever more popular. Los Angeles, again, was perfectly suited to become a hotbed for car culture. But remember, the earliest cars, like the Model Ts, not only were they more affordable, but they were also open carriage. Like they were not closed, they didn't have air conditioning. That meant it was difficult to fly. Los Angeles had perfect weather, shoot land, wall, and and tons of boys. So Los Angeles became a hotbed of car culture. And everybody became a favorite culture of cars rather than rail. So over time, Union Station, although it was an amazing building, over time it became fun. Also, we are driving over one of the most scenic constituents in all of America, the Los Angeles River. Woo. So I want you guys to understand that this river here, it don't look like that, but this was a vital part of the ecology of Southern California. For thousands of years, the water from the mountains would flow down through this basin, and it was wild and untamed. Because unlike smaller rivers, His liver is much richer, but but it's not the ridiculous and volume out of the past with what the entire that because what it is Los Angeles happened. It's like I'm just waiting to be because that is the old Washington, the other the scenario, sinking of millions of years, really well, every so long meetings with wild, unpredictable, would expand, track, the course of the river would change. This has been natural way. Yeah, they wanted something, but they couldn't fight others. So originally, as Los Angeles began to grow, folks actually cut their distance from the banks of the they do. What? However, by the 1930s, Los Angeles had been growing more and more. Real estate is becoming more and more expensive. So people started to go closer and closer to the LA River. And finally, it was 1934 or 1936. The 1930s, there was an unimaginable flood. Days and days of the rain. But the flooding was so bad, the entire Los Angeles Valley was flooded. From Venice Beach all the way to Hancock Park. Some places people were literally getting by. It was so bad that he was in the house to get that. I was wrong. That's the first flooding of the LA River. Led it to from the American war influence. They decided to punch the river in a concrete bridge. They created a canyon, a highway of water. That was the water of the LA River down out the long. This made the river more predictable, and it makes land safer for real estate. Oh, it completely changed how it built. Seasonal flooding is around Apple allow water allow plants to dry in other parts of the valley. But by chilling all of the water over, it exacerbated the pattern of the house. Now, California and Los Angeles faces studies and largely a positive a natural now scientists our here are trying to figure out how to balance the need of ecology and the need of water. It's a game to push and pull. I mean, mankind. World. You can back and be able to sit back, relax, and enjoy the breeze.